All right, this is the next article. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, this is the next article. Russia to halt nuclear cooperation with U.S. next year.
Joint efforts to secure nuclear materials on Russian territory cannot continue in 2015. It comes amid rising tensions between Moscow and Washington over Ukraine. Senior U.S. officials, say the message has been conveyed to them by the head of Russia's state nuclear company, Sergei Kiriyenko. He reportedly said Moscow does not envision new contracts under the current circumstances. The move could end key cooperation to help Russia safeguard its nuclear materials. The joint effort began in 1991 amid fears that the collapse of the Soviet Union would make its nuclear weapons vulnerable. Russia is apparently concerned about American nuclear experts accessing its nuclear sites. The Kremlin also announced last week that it could boycott a 2016 security summit hosted by the U.S. president. Well, to discuss that further, we're not joined by Joaquin Flores, who is with the Center for Syncretic Studies, who's joining us live now via Skype from Belgrade. Mr. Flores, thanks for joining us. Now, I imagine that on the face of it, this does sound like bad news, but I also imagine that Russian suspicions are well placed.
Yeah, it's up here, right?
Yeah, we basically got the gist of the article. Russia and America is basically separating company because they finna start this World War III. That's why the first article we read, there was going to be endless wars. America's going to be endless wars, right? So this is Obadiah chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 2, and it's just the point. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Why? Because America's implementing so many sanctions on Russia, so Russia trying to cut ties with America. First started with the money, now it's starting with their nuclear program.
This is Ezekiel 38:4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
So that means no more friends, no more public relationships, no more bureaucracy meetings. They basically on their own, basically lining up against America.
And especially with these nuclear arms, they pulling all that shit back and closing it within themselves so they can set themselves up.
An array. Yep. They getting themselves ready.
So them bucklers and them shields, you actually seen them bucklers and them shields get what do you call it?
Strategically
Get
placed
made,
around, getting made and formulated, upgraded, tested. They doing war games and everything. They getting ready. Everybody getting ready, man.
So they molding right now. That's when they ain't getting molded.
This is Isaiah 14:4. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smite the people in wrath with a continual stroke.
Right, because it says the USSR broke up in 91 when they made this agreement, and that was basically just to keep tabs on them. Russia knew that, so that's why they breaking off.
It said, He who smote the people with wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and not hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice. I'm just keeping going. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, Since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us. Future prophecy. Here we go with this. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Right, all the other nations and the kings is coming up against America. They basically, like the brother said, they keep on putting all these sanctions. They tired of that shit. Mm-hmm. So they all breaking ties slowly. And they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? The pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of the vowels. The worm is spread under thee.
Right, that's America's money system, and the way they got their infrastructure set up is all crashing down. So the other nations are rising up because they see that America only has so long. That's why they start making their own financial structures.
The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weakest the nations? And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know. This is Isaiah 13-17. Behold, I stir up the Medes, which are the Russians, against them,
Oh, that's I was just going to get into that.
which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
So America can't do no ransom payoff, nothing.
So once they broke up, they broke up.
Glad you brought that up. Okay, that's it? Yeah. Okay, I got Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon to destroy it.
The devices, these missiles.
Yeah.
That's why Russia just happened to be not cooperating with the nuclear war. And that's because when you go back to after World War II, America was leading with the Russian scientists, with the German scientists giving them asylums to come to the United States, and Russia was fighting for those scientists to come their way too. America got of the deal, the good part of the deal with Britain and South America too, which is America. And so Russia from that point on had to bow down to America when it came down to that nuclear missile and that monetary system. So, and that's during the Cold War. So they've been playing that Cold War game shit ever since by using second and third party nations to actually keep their war going. Because Russia and America has always had a war going, but it's just called the Cold War. Why is it cold? Because they talk, they build their weapons up against each other to flex their muscle, and America go get 50 other sponsor states to start coups in your shit, and you do the same to start coups with who I have.
Basically the Cold War starting all over again, because that's exactly what America's doing right now today. How they trying to pick back up for other countries and.
Well, that's the whole thing. The Cold War never has stopped.
Exactly.
Because America and Russia has always been fighting. They just been using sponsor states to fight for them. So America own Afghanistan.
Chess game.
What Russia do? They'll have people from Iran to come over and to take an oil field. Then America have to go get Blackwater to beat their ass down. Then Blackwater be accused for killing, so forth, so forth. Then they'll play the propaganda through the media.
Yeah, because Russia had to go into the Middle East. Russia came into the Middle East and they was going back and forth with the Arabs.
Yeah. 1971. The Jihad War. America flew all them people over there. That was the Cold War. Still going. It's just been cold. Now it's heating up. See that? Because now they breaking off the nuclear stuff, and they bluntly calling each other out. You see what Russia did with with Putin. What he just did with the G8 summit, he walked out on him. He stiffed him. He told him. He said, "Oh, I'm feeling sick," and left. He came. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Oh yeah, I'm feeling sick. Let's go. Cause you know how when you do that on purpose, you show up. Like I did that at my job. I came to my job X10 as I was finna get fired. I came to my job, and why after an hour and a half, I bluntly walked up to my boss and said, "Oh, I'm finna leave." That's what Putin just did. He said, "Excuse me, Jackson?" I said, "Yeah, you want to get somebody to replace me at that machine?" That was it.
Yep. They say go back to the scripture. Right, and that's why they keep saying it. This is called prophetic news. All of this is prophecy that's happening. That's what Watchmen is about. If these articles can't line up with these scriptures, it's not a fucking prophecy.
Yep, and these young brothers just lined it up. See, I'm a little older, so I studied a little war and history, and I always wanted to be an army motherfucker since the 50s, and I always loved that era. So I really got into that even before I came into the truth. So when I came into the truth, I started understanding a little bit more. Me and you went over the Cold War Museum. That's what broke it out, and I started to understand a little bit more. But like what y'all doing now, how y'all bringing the Medes and put the hooks in our mouth and how he reading the ones about the meat. That's what's happening now. Russia is coming to the forefront.
Yep.
And that's the brother just said. That's the prophetic news. That's tying in the news
Who will believe our report?
through the scriptures. Right. Hell no. So I need you to start back exactly where you were and keep the spirit rolling, because he finna bounce it right back to you.
Is Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes.
So it's finna be a war.
Yeah.
Cause didn't they just say that they found out that Russia used it wasn't no guys on the ground that shot that Malayan plane down. Malayan.
Yeah.
Right. They saying that they had to be Russia fighter jets now.
That's the Lord putting that spirit on him. For his device is against Babylon to destroy it.
Right? Because if Russia did that, right, guess who the police of the world is?
Russia.
No, America.
Oh yeah.
Whenever a bad guy do something, don't the police got to come?
Yeah.
So see how America is being forced into doing something? So the chips is being raised up like, nope, Russia shot that plane down. So the people who own that plane, where they from?
Malaysia.
They want justice.
Yeah.
Who's the police of the world?
America.
They gonna go to America and say, so
That
what you
goes
gonna
back to
do?
this, though. That's
Damn.
part of their propaganda.
It's a setup.
It's all a setup.
But that show you Yahweh Shah is controlling everything.
Controlling everything.
And then they said there was an intel. There was basically an intel like a war, because I believe they said the people that was on the plane were like businessmen
Mhm.
that had interest in America and whatnot. And,
See?
like starting this company over here or something to that extent. But don't quote me, but that's what I heard, that they had some basically agents.
It says, for his device against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple.
Right? Because a lot of people want to know, like, well, okay, what is the conclusion to the whole matter? He just read it for you.
Vengeance of the Lord. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon.
That's where we come in at the watchman.
Make the watch strong.
See that?
Set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes. For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spoke, which he
Right.
spake against the inhabitants of Babylon.
Because we actually reading the process and the formula, and we living it at the same time.
Yeah.
And we watching it come to fruition.
And this is another piece of that prophecy. This is 2 Ezra 15:28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia, which is Ishmael, shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble.
Right? Because there's going to be a coalition force of Arabs coming like the United States and Britain and all they has to do.
It says also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. And that's talking about Iran. And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of Assyria, which is talking about America. This is when all the other nations will come together and shoot those missiles out of America. They're going to all have that war.
Get ready for Red Dawn, 1 and 2.
And then shall the dragon have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And yeah, that's the Arabs. And what is the Arabs? It say remember their nature, a wild man. So they're gonna be snapping. The Lord gonna basically put that old spirit on all these nations, that old warrior spirit on all the nations. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power and shall flee. Right, so those is the Medes, which is Russia, like the brother brought out. The Carmanians is Iran, Arabia, Ishmael. Those everybody coming together according to Joel, the 3rd chapter. The Battle of Armageddon is starting. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, it's been culminating for a long time. It's been culminating for a long time.
Busted
The
those in
Cold
the back.
War, like you were saying, it's been all culminating to lead up to this day. Russia getting its interest, America getting their interest, NATO, all in coercing and doing everything they're supposed to be doing to lead up to now.
This is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
Right, so those German scientists that y'all was searching out for and trying y'all hardest to get, y'all had them created just for them to give it to y'all to destroy y'all.
And I have created the waster to destroy. So all that that Russian U.S. Nuclear arms that y'all had, and it just broke up, that was only created so Russia can build up their nuclear arsenal against you.
Because it's going to be used. All of that's going to be
Exactly.
used. Y'all, America's trying to...
Like Elder Todd said, fuck you think they finna have nuclear missiles in museums? I think not.
All that shit's going to be used. Yeah. And it, America tried to get people to disarm. What they call it, disarm.
Yeah.
They basically just trying to stop the prophecies, keep tabs on everybody and keep everybody suppressed because they see the prophecies coming.
Yeah.
It's like when they
Yeah,
told
that's what he on too.
It's like when they told everybody to give up their guns in Chicago. Report all your guns to the police.
I remember that, man.
Stupid shit.
And they put like
30.
3,000 people dead. They had 3,000 guns and stuff.
Everybody can. Go ahead.
Middle class
You got something?
dummies.
Nah, that was it.
That's it? Okay, there go the last scripture right there.
Okay, this is to close it up. This is, I think I brought this up before. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 4. Never gets old, though. It says, ye are, Salaki, 5 and 4. Yeah, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.